Hey everybody, it's your favorite sports talk show, KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, with my two co-hosts. My co-host to my left, Rashad Pennell, and my co-host to my right, Kyler Lewis. We're broadcasting to you on WODU Live, the best in college radio. How y'all doing today?
Hey, you can't complain, man. Just trying to deal with this cold weather. Trying
Weather.
to yeah,
Weather.
weather. You don't pronounce the H out here, weather.
No.
Trying to stay warm out here.
Oh,
Trying to
God.
fight the weather and losing
The weather.
the weather.
The weather.
Hey, get it
The
right.
weather.
I feel
With
you,
two
though.
D's.
For real though, really though.
Nah, but it's cold. This weather.
You
Is
see how I'm
great.
dressed?
Yeah.
Man.
You see how I'm dressed? No scarf, man.
You wildin', bro. I love me some warmth. I love
That's
me.
right.
I love me some warmth, some health, some goodness, some heat. If I had some hot cocoa, I'd be good.
Bro,
right
I was
now.
just thinking the same thing.
Really.
Yes.
I'm gonna go to Starbucks real quick. You know what I'm saying? Bless that scene real quick. You know what I mean?
You might have
People
to.
got me with the flex point stuff for this.
Anyways, going on to the next topics. Going on to the topics. Here are the topics that we got lined up for y'all today. We're gonna talk about the shellacking the Golden State Warriors put on the Cleveland Cavaliers, because I mean, really, it was a beatdown. If anybody saw it, Martin Luther King Day, trust me, he was dreaming something serious after that game. You know what I
You
mean?
gonna dream anything for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Well, no hope there.
Yeah. And after that, we'll go on to talk about the Carolina Panthers and Arizona Cardinals playoff game this weekend, and then also go into the Patriots and the Broncos game. And then there's like so many storylines that even come with that game itself. The Broncos players talking about making comments regarding Tom Brady, then making comments regarding Rob Gronkowski. It's like, man, like everybody just has something to say about one another. When we get to it, and then also discussing whether if this should really be it for Peyton Manning, because it seems as though his play has regressed to many people, and people feel as though in this time where so many people are announcing their retirements, that is it about time that Peyton announced his. But we'll get into that later on in the show. But to start off with, like I said, the Golden State Warriors, man, they beat the Cavaliers 132-98 on Monday night. And it was like an aberration, because Golden State was really like firing on all cylinders. Like I think like Steph Curry had like 5 threes in the first half, and his
first shot was a 3-point.
It was, and he had 16 points in the first quarter. LeBron James finished the game with 16 points. So that just tells the story for itself. And then Steph didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, most of the starters didn't play because it was that bad of a beatdown. I think it was one point, it was like 64-104. I think that was the score at one point. Like they were legit. The highest deficit was the biggest deficit was 43, and that's the largest margin of that's the biggest large margin that LeBron's ever been down by in his career. And this is after Steph Curry makes the remarks about, man, I hope that the place still smells like champagne and everything like that. And LeBron, they're asking different Cavalier players about it, and LeBron's like, when the reporters are leaving, LeBron's like, y'all not gonna ask me? And then they're like, well, did you want to make a comment? And he's just like, well, I mean, he's like, I'll have an answer for it in the game or after the game, man. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on the answer.
Yeah. Well, his answer was they gave him an old-fashioned, behind whipping. I'm substituting words right there, but that's virtually what it was. I mean, they got ran out of their own building. I mean, it was a lot different than the Christmas Day game when they were a lot more competitive. And it was definitely they played really bad at home that game. It was really bad. Like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love combined went 4-16. Like in the fourth quarter, Steph Curry outscored both of them for the whole game. I mean, in the first quarter, Steph Curry had already outscored both of them. Kyrie finished with 8. Kevin Love finished with 3 points. So y'all, what do y'all think this loss means to the both teams, and especially with like how much vitriol everybody's been throwing towards the Golden State Warriors, because everybody's felt like they've won because of luck and everything like that. But then they go out and destroy the Cavaliers, like just punish them. So what do y'all think about it? Rashad? Let me hear your perspective first. What do you think?
So this win shows that this Cavaliers team, I don't think is ready for the Warriors yet. Because, you know, at Christmas Day, we were talking about, well, Kyrie Irving was just back for 3 games. Let's see what happens when they play him again when they're healthy. And we see what's happening when they're healthy. He gets strapped. Kevin Love gets strapped. LeBron gets strapped. The whole team gets strapped. And then you have astronomical shooting by Golden State Warriors.
Come on. Astronomical.
Hey, bro, them shoes was out of this world. For real.
Every shot went in. And this is how it was. Every shot went into Steph. Front of the court every time.
You seen the little Super Saiyan thing when Steph gets excited? He's like,
Oh yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's how this game was. Every 2 minutes you see out of Steph. So there's nothing you can do about that. And Klay Thompson with 15 points, all of them are 3-pointers. What can you do something about that?
Yeah.
You can't stop a team who they shot 48% from 3-point that game as a team.
Yeah.
And that's excluding how well probably Steph shot.
Yeah.
And then they shot almost 60% from the field as a team.
Can't beat somebody shooting.
They shot better.
Crazy.
They shot better 3-point percentage than the Cleveland Cavaliers shot as a field goal percentage for the whole game. That says something right there. So if you're shooting 2-pointers at this percent, and this team's shooting 3-pointers at this percent,
You see the kind
according to my math, is every shot they get 1 more point than you are. So they had no chance of winning.
Hey, that's true.
I just can't even.
They had no
correct.
chance of winning.
Yeah.
Now for the Warriors aspect, this is like a statement win for them because everybody's been talking about how, well, when they lost 2, they just lost 2 recently. Everybody's been talking about how the Spurs team is probably better than them.
Yeah.
I don't think, like you said, no team has given LeBron problems like this until this Warriors team just did it. Not even the Spurs didn't. Spurs beat on. Spurs did a little thing to them, but it wasn't like this. So I feel like it's building back up that resume for the Golden State Warriors where they're trying to look like the number 1 soul team in the NBA and not trying to share it with the Spurs.
All right, Khalid, what do you think?
I do. It was a great game.
For who?
For the Warriors. What you mean?
No, because when you say it's a great game, I'm thinking competitive. You know, we
no.
I want a great game.
Yeah,
It was a great game for the Warriors.
I was sitting there, man.
Steph Curry.
If we on the bench sleeping in the fourth
But
quarter.
no, look, halftime when the score was 74-44, I was like, how? But it's a half. How do you score 30 more points than the other team?
That's 30 points in the first quarter, 40 something in the second quarter. And then after that,
But it's just sad. Like you were saying, they were shooting a better 3-point field goal percentage than the Cleveland Cavaliers field goal percentage. So they were scoring 1 more point than they were shooting.
Yeah, man. It was.
I think this win for them really like shows the difference between like Cleveland and the Warriors. The Warriors like showed that they won't be beaten by the Cleveland Cavaliers, even at home, even when their fans are roaring and screaming and hype, whatever, that they're unfazed by them. Like Steph apparently still smelled the champagne when he came in there, and he probably gonna smell it next time because the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they tried to adjust to the Warriors play from when they played in Christmas. They tried to get a little faster or more riskier. And when I saw Kevin Love shoot a 3-point and airball it, I was like, they need to stop. They need to go back to what they was doing. I know Kevin Love he can shoot a little bit, but don't be shooting no 3-pointers, please. Especially when you're losing horribly.
You gotta come back some kind of way. That's what Kevin Love probably thinking.
Not Kevin Love. My man's LeBron. He tried to shoot. He shot something from the perimeter when the lane was wide open for him to go to the hole. I was like, man, go to the basket. Don't just stand there and shoot.
Well, I mean, nothing was going for LeBron that game.
I'll say to that credit, I mean, that was kind of their plan though, because they sagged off of LeBron just like the Spurs do. Whenever they guard LeBron, they're like, here, we're gonna let you shoot these open threes, open jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're inviting him to the rim. But when you have Andre Iguodala guarding you, you got Draymond Green guarding you, you got Harrison Barnes guarding you, then you got whoever is waiting for you at the rim. And halftime, Golden State doesn't even have anybody at the rim except for Draymond Green because Draymond Green is that long and he's that good of a defender that he constitutes as a big man whenever you try to attack the rim. So it's like LeBron's like, man, we can't get into the paint. I can't even get anywhere near it because they're just packing. They honestly packed the paint, but their rotation on defense was so good that the open shots that the Cavaliers had was the shots that Golden State wanted them to have.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I mean, it's also a simple fact that the Cavaliers weren't hitting shots. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Kevin Love, granted, in my opinion, I think the Cavaliers used Kevin Love wrong because he can shoot threes, and you do want to, utilize that in your offensive game where you could create space for LeBron and Kyrie by having him out on the 3-point line. The problem is, to me, the Cavaliers don't force mismatches enough with Kevin Love because they don't ever try to post Kevin Love up, really. You'll see it maybe 1 or 2 plays when LeBron or Kyrie's out the game, but then the rest of the game, he's just out on the 3-point line taking threes, and you're just like, dude.
And that's when teams go small now. A lot of teams are going small too, so Kevin Love has the advantage.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me because if you can post somebody up and Kevin Love's going to have the advantage, you saw what he did in Minnesota. I mean, the dude's averaging 15 and 10. I mean, Kevin Love's not no scrub, but they don't use him right. I mean, he's averaging 15 and 10 for most of the season when Kyrie Irving is out. Kyrie Irving already missed a quarter of this season and just came back this past month in December. So it's like you sit there and think about it. You're like, I mean, Kevin Love's supposed to be the third option. Technically, the Chris Bosh role that Chris Bosh was in Miami was him, LeBron, and Dwayne Wade. But you see how they don't use Kevin Love right. So sometimes I sit there. Do you guys think that maybe some of these losses can be attributed to coaching? Because a lot of people last season said that they feel like the Cavaliers kind of got, or David Blatt himself got a pass because, I mean, you're not going to really get rid of a coach that made it to the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? His first season. But everybody always talks about the fact that when David Blatt got hired to be the Cavaliers coach, he didn't know that he was going to get LeBron James along with it. He thought he was going to have Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, blah, 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 whoever else. He thought it was going to be a rebuilding team. But then he comes and then LeBron comes and then they trade for Kevin Love. So then they're like, you got to win right away. And, he's still, I mean, David Blatt's technically a sophomore coach in the league. So do you think at times that it's the coaching, the experience, the differential of coaching experience shows in the games?
Of course.
I don't know. Because we can't forget that David Blatt was a coach across seas. So he has experience coaching, but I mean, when you come to the NBA, it is a different level.
Yeah.
But he's not doing a bad job as a coach in the NBA right now. There's a lot of coaches who are a lot worse than he is. But I mean, because it's a LeBron's team, and we look at, do we think LeBron's more of a coach than he is? It's kind of the same thing with Eric Spoelstra when LeBron was in Miami. But neither one of them are bad coaches. I mean, we see the Heat can still compete right now with LeBron gone. Well, I can't say the same. Well, I didn't see David Blatt coach the Cavaliers without LeBron, so I wouldn't really know. But I don't think he's doing. I mean, he's the number one in the East, so I don't feel like he's doing a bad job. Well, last year you had Atlanta and you had Toronto and all them up there at the top. So I don't know. I don't feel like he's doing a bad job right now. I mean,
maybe the Warriors the
Warriors make you look bad. That's all it is.
I think the Warriors just a horrible
Spurs
matchup for Cleveland.
But the thing is, the reason why, because technically, if you go back to the finals, the Warriors have beat the Cavaliers 5 straight times. So people are like, at this point, like, what adjustments? Because that's the coach's job, that you have to make adjustments. I mean, the coach can't be out there knocking down shots for you, granted, but that's the coach's job for you to match up, for you to have the X's and O's to match up with the Warriors' small lineup. Like the way the Warriors were running on the Cavaliers on Martin Luther King Day and hitting those threes. I mean, granted, some of those threes you're just like, man, that's you just tip your hat off to him. Like, you can't, like, this man Steph Curry. I mean, some of these threes you're just like, dude. If I was a coach, like, imagine coaching Steph Curry back in high school, and you see him take some of these shots, and you're just like,
come on,
yeah, and
heart attack.
Like, imagine when you first get him as a player, you're just like, yo, like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, you're like, what is this guy doing? But then he starts hitting them, and you're like, I don't know. I don't want to mess you up because I don't want to tell you to stop. But then at the same time, that's a bad shot. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes you're just like, what do you do? But then it's, you need somebody to make adjustments for you, because I feel like there's a reason why people give the Spurs more credit than the Cavaliers or the Warriors at times, because I think it helps that Greg Popovich is your coach. You know what I mean? Like, Greg Popovich has just had that. You know, we feel like every year Greg Popovich is a coach of the year candidate because his teams have never been historically losing teams. Ever since Greg Popovich has been coaching the Spurs have been on the up. They've never been on the down. And if they're on the down, it's due to a Tony Parker injury, due to Manu Ginobili being hurt, or Tim Duncan being hurt, something like that. But you never seen, when all three of those guys are healthy, that the Spurs have really ever been out of it. So you think about that, and then you look at it. I mean, the Warriors are a great team, because we even see without Steve Kerr that Luke Walton has them, you know, winning the #1 team in the West. But then at the same time, you look at it and you're like, man, this team is so talented because Steve Kerr got them off the first season and won a championship. So you look at that, you're like, they're so talented. So how big of a role do you think the coach plays in it? Because I mean, there has to be a reason why, you know, people are thinking that David Blatt kind of isn't getting, you know, there could be a better suited player or a better suited coach for the team. Because I mean, even in the loss, when you see the camera footage, you see at the point in time when they were losing, LeBron sitting next to Tyronn Lue, the assistant coach, and he's talking to Tyronn Lue as opposed to, you know, talking to David Blatt. So you kind of like, not to say Tyronn Lue would be a better coach than David Blatt, but it's those kind of things that you look at and you're just like, oh, could.
I mean, we
It's
don't
kind
know
of
what he's talking
questionable.
about, though.
No, you don't know. You
don't
don't know what he's talking about.
They could just be talking about, man, we getting blown out, yo. What you think? Or it could be
But
like,
Zach, but
or
you
like,
see,
what do I need to do to fix it? You see,
you talk about, you see, but even that, you said, what can I do to fix this? What we're getting blown out.
Yeah,
what are we doing
but
right?
Question for a
we
head
don't
coach.
know that he's saying.
I know, but I'm saying, but even the fact that you gave those examples, why are you talking about that with the assistant coach instead of the head coach? I could never imagine Kobe Bryant going to Kurt Rambis instead of Phil Jackson and saying, dang, bro, like, this is a bad loss. Like, what am I, you know, what am I doing? That's, you know, what I need to do better. He's going to Kurt Rambis instead of Phil Jackson. Like, I don't think there's any situation we imagine that these star players
assistant coach will have better
But see, I'm saying there's a range of stuff you could say.
No, I know there's a range of.
He's talking about the game.
I know there's a range of stuff that you can say. I know that, but I'm saying this is even the examples that you just gave. Because most times whenever they show, we watch Cavalier games nationally, they're always showing that the players are talking to Tyronn Lue, or you know, it's most of the time even the main players that talk to David Blatt are the opposing team's players. Like the only conversation I saw Cavalier players having with David Blatt really was in the huddle, or it was when they were doing side out of bounds type plays. And in those situations, I'm just like, dang, like, because you see little things like you said, like Eric Spoelstra in Miami. The thing that the Cavaliers, like, there was a point in time I remember it was an inbounds play. I don't know if y'all remember this game, but I think it might have been Christmas Day actually, maybe. And the Cavaliers are doing a side inbounds play, and David Blatt was sending in David Blatt. Okay. Yeah, David Blatt was sending in Kyrie Irving. LeBron waved Kyrie Irving off and said, "I want Dellavedova in for this play." It's just like, man, like how. That man coaches the team essentially because he waved off a coach substitution. He said, "You staying there? You go back to your seat.
You good? You straight?"
Yeah, you know what I mean. This is Kyrie Irving, and he's telling pretty much telling Kyrie, and he's telling the coach, "Hey, we need Delly in for this play." You know what I'm saying? So it's like
because I feel like that's a play that if Kyrie Irving was in the game, who got the ball, play would have got changed. Because Kyrie Irving would have did Kyrie Irving things instead of knowing his role, giving the ball back to LeBron or something like that.
Delly know his role.
But I'm just waiting for this next game with the Warriors, the Bulls, and this man Jimmy Butler.
Man, we
don't have
time to go into
keep hyping this man.
That's all I'm waiting for.
We don't got time to go into that. Going on to the next topic. The NFL playoffs are shaping up to be very, very, very exciting at this point because this Carolina Panthers and Arizona Cardinals game is technically the first time that two Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks will be going head to head with one another, in Carson Palmer and Cam Newton. And there's so many storylines that have come in even with this game because you have Cam Newton, the revolutionary quarterback who everybody's talking about is the quarterback of this generation. With the dabbing, with the pipe it up dances and everything like that, and the celebratory stuff he does. And you just see how he's revolutionized or affecting Carolina and stuff like that. Then you go over to Arizona where you have Carson Palmer, whose first playoff win came last week against Green Bay. So you look at those two different aspects, and then there's so many things with that team too. Of so many people thinking Larry Fitzgerald's like the nicest personality, like at the wide receiver position. That that Super Bowl ring has eluded him for so long, and yet. Then you have this other team on the other side who's this upcoming, and you feel like this season has been destiny for the Panthers. Like nobody, I don't think there was anybody apart from maybe Panther fans that saw a season like this coming from the Panthers. They probably didn't even see it. 15-1, winning home field advantage throughout the playoffs until the Super Bowl. Nobody probably even saw this season coming from the Panthers. So then you look at, especially without Kelvin Benjamin. So you look at those two different storylines, and then it all meets this Sunday. So. What do y'all think about this game? How do you think this game is going to go? Khaled, we'll start off with you. What do you think?
This is gonna be a very, very hype game. Just looking at the way that the Panthers and the Cardinals played last week, I think it's gonna be a lot of like trade off and scoring. Uh, One thing I saw a little bit was the fact that both defenses kind of like crumbled a little bit. Like in the second half of the Seahawks and Panthers game, Seahawks, like Russell Wilson started abusing that secondary of the Panthers, and they started coming back with the scoring, even though the Panthers still won the game. And then in the Green Bay and Arizona game, Arizona barely hung on to a win in overtime against Green Bay, and Green Bay just decimated their defense. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it is Aaron Rodgers, who is a very great quarterback, and he just like exposed their defense. So one thing that I do think is gonna like decide the game is how well the opposing team's offense will handle the other team's defense. Like how well they can what's the word I'm looking for? Take advantage of the weak points in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Cardinals, they really don't have too much of a rushing game. They got Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald as the keystones of their offense, and that's a whole lot. They lead in the league. Well, they're not leading the league, but they're better at passing than the Panthers. Versus the Panthers, who has an all-around game in the offense. So I do think that the Panthers have an advantage in this game, and I do want the Cardinals to win though, because we all want to see Larry Fitzgerald and Carson Palmer get the Super Bowl ring, or at least win the NFC Championship. Mm-hmm. But it looked like it's swinging in the Panthers' favor.
Okay, Rashad, how about you?
All right, so let me go and assess both of these games real quick. The Seahawks-Panthers game. A lot of people think when you're watching that game, you're like, oh, that offense is legit. That offense put up mad points. But technically, no. You had that one break run with Jonathan Stewart, based the first play of the game. So, was the first play of the game? Mm-hmm. Had, 60-yard run? Was set up a 4-yard touchdown run by Jonathan Stewart. Then you had a pick six by Luke Kuechly. That's 14 points right there. They had 31 for the game. And all of it came in basically the first half. Mm-hmm. So, now nothing's wrong with the defense. That defense got conservative in the second half, which caused Russell Wilson to start cooking them. I mean, eating them up. Mm-hmm. So, their defense was good. Their offense didn't impress me as much. Now, with the Arizona Cardinals game, it's not the same way, because basically that game shouldn't even went to overtime. It took Aaron Rodgers like crazy plays, Hail Marys, and everything to get them to take it to overtime. And then basically when Cardinals got the ball, Larry Fitzgerald torched them. So I don't think Carolina has the offensive power to keep up with Arizona. If they trade points, I don't think they can keep up. It's going to take an amazing defensive game out of Carolina to beat the Arizona Cardinals, because the Arizona Cardinals defense is no slouch as well. Mm-hmm. Their defense can play. Their defense can get up as well, just like the Panthers defense can get up. So when you compare like that, you have two strong defenses, and you have a decent offense and a strong offense. You have a lot more weapons with Arizona. It's just that you have Cam Newton back there for Carolina, who can scramble, make plays with his feet as well. Jonathan Stewart, who's having probably one of his best seasons he's had. So I feel like the Cardinals have the edge in this game because of how powerful the offense is and how their defense can actually stay with a team. We see that defensive line can get to quarterbacks, can rush Cam Newton, can make him hustle, make him get out the pocket, make him, think a lot more than he has to. It's going to be harder to find Greg Olsen, but making plays with his feet is going to help him. Mm-hmm. It's going to depend if his receivers can get open, because Cam Newton's going to get flushed out that pocket a lot more probably this game than
they're going to force him to run.
So, but I see the Cardinals winning this game. And depending on how the game goes, if it's an offensive game, I see them winning by 2 touchdowns. If it's a defensive game, I see 1.
But Okay, so to your point about the Panthers offense, I mean, you can't discredit a big run just because that's part of the offensive game.
There was a hole in the defense, and it was a hole in the defense. You had a big run, big play that led to a touchdown.
Yeah.
But if you look at it when your defense is actually on point, there's no not many mistakes. You saw that the offense couldn't do anything in the second half.
But I'm saying, so then what can we say for the Cardinals play when in overtime when Larry Fitzgerald breaks that big run off that pass to the other side of the field?
That's a hole in the defense.
That's a hole in the defense. That's still a play that counts towards your offense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you discredit one team's play but then credit the other team's play? They didn't have a
defensive touchdown that game either.
So that's still 24 points that the Panthers put up in the first half. I mean, besides the Luke Kuechly pick six, that's still what's it called? A defensive cut. Yeah, that's still 24 points that they scored.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
But it's still.
And then with that lead, they started playing like front runners. They started playing very conservative on offense. Mm-hmm. They just were playing to run out the clock as opposed to how aggressive they were playing in the first half. Mm-hmm. So
they switched up the game.
They switched up their game plan just because of the fact they were actually leading. So,
but I mean, it wasn't a straight run every play though. It was more conservative, but I mean, they still couldn't even get the run game going in the second half.
It was really because they weren't threatening them with deep passes. That's the reason why.
If you took away that run game wasn't as strong as it normally is.
And if you take away those plays by Larry Fitzgerald, it's not
that passing game was still his tech.
That play, Larry Fitzgerald picked up like 60 or 70 yards.
But that
you take 60, 70 some yards away from Carson Palmer's throwing totals.
And it's still 200. It is like
that's about
that rushing total will be under 100 yards.
That's about average though.
Mm-hmm.
The rushing total with Cam Newton rushing as well.
It'll be if you took that 60-yard play from Jonathan Stewart, it's under 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, same thing.
And that's my point. So how you going to discredit one offense and then you give the credit to another offense?
As a team, you have Cam Newton rushing as well. Of course, your rushing total is going to be a lot higher. That's why
I think they're more versatile offense.
I know, but listen. That's why the Seahawks every year was leading the league in rushing every year because Russell Wilson make plays with his feet. Marshawn Lynch was making plays with his feet. Now, you only have one person throwing the football at Arizona, so you take a 60-yard pass away. Yes, it's not going to look as impressive as running under 100 yards. But you have two people who running the ball, and you still under 100 yards other than Big Harry, then it looks different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying, but
I think
think of it this way. Think of it this way. Let me see. What's the team that? Okay, let's go to Philadelphia. So if Sam Bradford's not a scrambling quarterback, we can say that he's not a scrambling quarterback. You're not worried about him getting more than 20 yards a game on his feet.
No.
So they're probably, I'll say as a team, they average 150 yards rushing, something like that, as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a 60-yard run from there, and Sam Bradford doesn't give you yards running, that rushing total looks pitiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, see, when you pass the ball, I mean, there's only one person passing the ball. You take, like you said, you take it away, but it's average. But I'm saying Carolina's Panthers rushing totals are a little boosted because you have Cam Newton running as well.
That's true.
So when you take that 60-yard run and you're still under 100 yards, and you're like, well, was the rushing game really going, even though you have Cam Newton running as well? Like, was it really going? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's where you're coming from.
I get what you're coming from, but this because that would take, but you can't take away a big run from a team's offense because that means whatever
caused that
because that means we can do that for every team that has a great running game and then their running back breaks one big run because we know that's a big testament to how Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell scored. And you have your offense creates those holes. Yeah. Your offense, your blockers have to go and block for those holes to be there. I mean, sometimes it's defensive last, sometimes the defense splits and y'all pick up the blitz. Those are plays that happen like that. So that's part of the game. And then you get burnt for a big play. That's what happens because there's nobody at the second level to tackle the running back. So if that happened on that specific play, you can't take that away from the Carolina's offense. They created a play. The play was given. You know what I mean? You can't say that their offense wasn't as good or whatever just because. I mean, they were top 6, top 5 in rushing throughout the season. Mm-hmm. So it was nothing new. I mean, Jonathan Stewart wasn't always available to him. Mm-hmm. So the fact they still remain top 5, top 6. I mean, that's a testament. They just run the ball great as it is. And Cam Newton, it wasn't like Cam Newton didn't throw any touchdowns in this game neither. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That one defensive touchdown essentially the touchdown to put them over and above. But I mean, that still factors in.
That props to their whole offense. They got a versatile QB like that. Mm-hmm. They can actually run and add a whole lot more yards to the running game as well.
So how would you say that you see this game going with if you have, because the reason I've been stucky with this game is because it's like it was the same kind of thing that everybody kind of felt, that it's that same kind of disrespect. I'm not saying disrespect, but the same kind of talent thing that people are measuring. They're like, man, you look at it on the table, the Seahawks got Legion of Boom, you got Russell Wilson, you got Beast Mode, you got Doug Baldwin, you know, you got Jermaine Kearse, you got these guys, and you're like, man, they should be able to win this game. The game gets played, and you're like, man, this is not what I predicted. So then you look at it, and then now you look at the Cardinals. And now, granted, the Cardinals offense hasn't been the
most productive,
the prolific offense that we thought it essentially was at the beginning of the season. I mean, Carson Palmer hasn't played all too well as of late. You know what I mean? I think he threw like how many interceptions last game? I think he threw 2. So you throw 2 interceptions in a game, and Larry Fitzgerald play was a big play that, you know, it happened in overtime. So technically, in regulation, their offense hadn't been all too great. It was solid, essentially, because they weren't running the ball all too well with David Johnson, who everybody's been gloating about him. So everybody's been gloating about that running back because he's been great. But they will have Chris Johnson say he's healthy to play this weekend. But David Johnson has still played solid for them throughout the time Chris Johnson's been hurt. And you're going up against a Packers defense that not everybody's pretty much rumored that, or has pretty much consensus has agreed that Packers defense isn't great. So then you're going to go to Carolina, you're playing a way better defense. The only skeptical thing you have with the Panthers is the back of their secondaries. It's the safeties. But Josh Norman's legit. Cortland Finnegan's legit. So it's like, I mean, Luke Kuechly in the front 7 is legit. They get to the quarterback. Carson Palmer can't move. I mean, the dude's had so many knee surgeries, you think that leg is just stationary. So it's like, you look at that, but then on the reverse side, you think about, man, the Cardinals got Patrick Peterson. You know, they don't have Tyrann Mathieu no more, but you still look at it and you're like, man, their defense has been legit. And then you're like, man, all the Panthers have is Cam, Jonathan, Greg, and Ted Ginn Jr. But that's gotten them 15-1.
Yeah, I got them 15-1.
So it's like, how we can't discredit that.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not trying to discredit the team, but it kind of goes back to show you, like, before the game happened, we was talking about the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. When I told you I feel like Arizona's defensive line is better than.
I respect. The Panthers are actually number two in rushing. Yeah.
Behind
Buffalo.
Behind Buffalo. Yeah. So it was Tyrod Taylor and Sean McCoy this year, holding it down. But like, I'm not trying to discredit the team, because the team has been above everybody's expectations this year, especially with the injury they dealt with. We didn't see this team being, in the NFC Championship game. At least I didn't until I started watching them play, and I was like, oh snap. Yeah, this team can actually play. The defense is looking great.
Losing, but
then at the same time, I was watching like the Arizona Cardinals. Like, this should have been the team last year if Carson Palmer didn't get hurt.
So you think they would have beat the Seahawks?
Yes, I still stick to thinking that team was the best. I feel like for the past 2 seasons, the Arizona Cardinals have been the best team in the NFL when healthy.
Even seeing at their little drop off at the end of this season.
That goes with healthy, because Carson Palmer was a little unhealthy
at the end of the season.
At the end of this, yeah.
But the Panthers have been unhealthy. And they're number one. They were number one in points scored on offense.
But I mean, they're unhealthy as Kelvin Benjamin. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't. I mean,
Carson Palmer still played.
Well, he missed a game with index finger on his throwing hand.
He's still been playing though.
He has been playing.
So
Kelvin Benjamin came. We came in the season.
And on those games that the drop offs occurred, Carson Palmer has been suited in uniform. Nobody's suited up for him.
You're right.
In those games that their drop off has shown.
Playing.
You know what I'm saying? So he was playing, and so those games where the points or the scoring wasn't as the offense was.
His productivity went down. Yes, his productivity. That's when he had his injury on his throwing hand. So,
I mean, Big Ben had an injury on his shoulder. Big Ben. And he didn't have Antonio Brown last week against the Denver Broncos.
This is Big Ben. We're talking. Big Ben is a different breed.
We've
already established how great. We've already established how.
If y'all need to see what I said about Big Ben last week, for anybody who bet against the Steelers or bet against the Steelers or anything, go watch the video I said last week on the KBR Sports YouTube channel. What I said about Big Ben. Go on. Go on.
Big Ben's a different breed.
But he's still a quarterback. I'm just saying.
Big Ben isn't your typical fragile quarterback. Carson Palmer's, your Tony Romo's, your I want to say Tom Brady, but Tom Brady he's a warrior. But he's not the Tom Brady. They're not gonna play him. They're not gonna be like Tom Brady. You got a messed up shoulder. You need to sit out because we need you. Big Ben, they're like torn shoulder. Do some push-ups on it. That's how it is with them. See, so this finger injury is a lot more significant to someone like a Carson Palmer than it would be to like Big Ben.
This man's shoulder was hurt.
I understand. Look, I understand.
Bro, I can't just say it because it's big. So he had a hurt AC sprain in his shoulder. He had a torn ligament.
But the Arizona Cardinals haven't been losing.
They haven't been losing,
but they just haven't been as productive.
You ever heard that issues get covered up in wins?
I mean,
they covered up their issues through winning,
but it wasn't. But I mean,
and then they just got blown out by the Seahawks at the end of the season. Didn't they?
They did. But see, we say for an average team, well, they're above average, obviously, because they're in the championship. But for an average team, their decline was what they do. You see what I'm saying? Because there's such a high expectations, and we saw how they can be at the beginning of the season and throughout the first half of the season. We saw how great that offense could be. That's what we expect. So that drop off, we're like, they dropped off. I mean, it's hard to, I can't really say it's hard to, be the best offense all season long because you have games where you have drop offs, and that's where that's when people see you like, well, you didn't throw 400 yards, you do 275, you're scrubbing, You see what I'm saying? Like,
well, I don't think people see it as that, but I think people see it as when other teams are driving up and down the field on you, and then because think about it. When we talk about the Patriots drop off, we atone most of the Patriots drop off to Julian Edelman being hurt, Damian Amendola being hurt. What was the starting running back? Dion Lewis being hurt. You know what I mean? Like we attribute it to the guy like Gerard Mayo just got placed on IR the other day, so he's not going to be available for them this Sunday. So you look at all those kind of things. You attribute that kind of stuff to to the Patriots drop off, and then people still are like the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots weren't the number one scoring offense, but you still look at it and they're like, man, the Patriots are still pretty good. You know what I mean? As long as 12 and 81 are good. You know what I mean? Or 87. As long as 12 and 87 are good, the Patriots relatively are going to be in the game. But the Cardinals, I mean, Chris Johnson has been a serviceable back, but you could replace Chris Johnson. David Johnson did that. David Johnson came in and was producing for them.
That's the same thing.
And then they struggled to run the ball against the Packers. And so you look at
against a weak Packers defense.
But see, you can't say the whole defense is weak. I mean, the defense may give up a lot of passing yards, but their rushing defense is a lot better than their passing defense for the Packers.
That's true.
So I mean, you can't. I mean, yeah, the defense is weak. The defense is not up as it used to be, but it's still the Green Bay Packers, and it's still a playoff game. It's not like it's kind of like how like the NBA, like teams are different when it comes to playoff time.
I mean, Green Bay's not even ranked in the top 17 for defense against rushing yards or defensive rushing yards. So I mean, their defense throughout the whole season hasn't been good at stopping the run,
right.
And then you couldn't run the ball against them.
But I mean,
and David Johnson had 15 carries.
So
and he averaged 2.3 yards a carry.
So we consider.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying because sometimes you just have bad days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, the fact of the matter is still like when people did not expect Adrian Peterson to go off against the Seattle Seahawks because Seattle stops Adrian Peterson. They make that their goal. They're like, if there's anything we're gonna do, we're gonna let Teddy Bridgewater beat us. But that's an entirely different scenario when you have Teddy Bridgewater as your quarterback, and you have Carson Palmer as your quarterback. Yeah. It's two different scenarios. So when you can't run the ball against a team that has to respect the fact that you can throw the ball, and they still don't even guard their secondary is not that legit. The number one person you can probably name from the Packers secondary is Sam Shields. Other than that, their secondary is not that legit, and then you can't really run the ball on them. Carson Palmer is turning the ball over against them, so it's like.
But I mean, you can say that same thing with the Panthers, who's number 2 in rushing. We haven't seen them be prolific every game. So
they had Jonathan Stewart had over 100-some yards rushing.
No, I'm saying every game.
I'm
saying you haven't seen them be as number 2 rushing team every game. You can't go we haven't seen them go out every game and be like, that's why they're number 2 in rushing. Because this stuff right here. Every game is not like that. You have bad games as a team.
But most of the time, look at the team that they're not like that against. Look at what that team.
You're still the number 2 team in rushing.
I'm saying you're doing it most times. At least 14 games out of the 16 games. So but I'm saying look at those 2 games where they didn't rush the ball over 100 or whatever yards. Look at those 2 games where they didn't do that against, and see who's available to them. See if Jonathan Stewart played. See who's available to them. See who they played against and what their defense does against the run. Those factors play into this team is not going to stop in a run, and the Cardinals couldn't run the ball. And you're supposed to be the best all-around team of football in the NFC. You're the team that everybody was like you said, they could have went to the Super Bowl last season if Carson Palmer to stay healthy the past 2 seasons. And I mean, granted, they're at the NFC Championship now, which is a testament to their greatness in itself. But Carson Palmer did just legit win his first playoff game. Like this was his past
but
game.
He won it last year if he was healthy.
See, we don't know that. There's no reason to believe. There's no reason to believe that that definitely would have happened. He's given us no reason to believe. All those Cincinnati Bengals teams he was on were talented. They were all talented. They didn't have the defensive secondary that the Cardinals have, but they were all good enough for you to win 1 playoff game. And he just won one this past weekend.
Hey, I just want to say one more thing about this.
What?
I understand everything both of y'all was saying. I completely do. I get how you're saying. They had a drop off.
Say something blasphemous?
No. I completely understand how you said Arizona had a drop off, but just remember, Darren McFadden had 100 yards against Carolina. That's all I gotta say.
And the Cowboys are a good rushing team.
Hey,
so what's your point?
That's all I gotta say. They had 100 yards against Carolina.
Darren McFadden.
Wait for Arizona to play. Wait, they can give us some yards.
Right, that's Darren McFadden.
They can give us some yards. Right? Hey, no. Early in the season, you talk about this Darren McFadden.
Dallas is the 9th rushing team in the league. Y'all have the best O-line in the league.
Exactly.
But listen.
What is your point?
If this team can run,
top 10 team that
because
can run.
whoa. Good thing, but we had no quarterback. I mean,
they're still running.
Our job,
exactly.
just like the Seahawks said, your main job is stop Adrian Peterson. Let Teddy. Same thing with us. Let Brandon Whedon beat you because we're Brandon Whedon at the time. Let Brandon Whedon beat you. Matt Castle didn't play that game. it was Brandon Whedon right there against them. Because that's how I was like, we're good. We're still gonna be good.
No. Tony Romo played. Tony Romo started the game.
Was it really?
Yeah, Tony Romo played.
Is that the game he got hurt in?
Yeah.
Wait, second time?
I didn't remember. It was Tony Romo on Thanksgiving when they played.
It was.
Tony Romo got.
Oh yeah. Okay, but still,
his wife was sick.
Hey, but still, you gotta think about it like
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's injury's not funny, but it's just the fact that the whole thing just started replaying in my mind. I was like, wait, was it Matt Castle? And then it all started replaying in my head.
All right, so when you watch that game, we clearly saw how Tony Romo was playing. We clearly saw how Tony Romo was playing.
I mean, but I'm just. But still, that's
Tony Romo threw pick six.
That's
Tony
Romo.
No.
Wait,
I'm saying you can't.
With his
interception,
I was making a case because that's how bad it was. That's why I was like, damn, Romo didn't even play. That's how bad of a performance it was.
Romo was so bad that they had to focus on the rush.
No, Romo was so bad I didn't even know he played.
But here's the thing.
That's how bad it was. Romo was so bad I didn't know he played.
His whole case was about to be about how they stopped the. His whole game ought to be about how they focus on the run because it was Matt Castle or Brandon Whedon back there. But the fact now that Tony Romo, my man, is stuck. It was Tony Romo.
Point is, Tony Romo. You look at Tony Romo. All right, I can still fix this case. I can still fix this case. You look at Tony Romo. You look at Tony Romo like you look at Carson Palmer. You give them the same kind of like treatment, like okay, they both can sling the ball across the field. They both have good threats. You have a Des Bryant, you have a Larry Fitzgerald. So when you look at that team gave up 100 yards rushing to this team with a hurt Tony Romo, who they still was like, okay, he can still do this. So then they can be like, okay, we still got to worry about Carson Palmer. So 100 yards rushing is going to come. And when let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish. And when that 100 yard rushing comes, they're gonna be like, we need to adjust to this run. And when they adjust to this run, that's when Carson Palmer like, I got him. And that's when they're gonna torch him. So that's what's gonna happen. Arizona is gonna beat this game, win this game easily. And I don't know if y'all saw the little video where Cam Newton was like, man, I can't keep my cool. I don't know if y'all saw that video. Yeah. He's gonna be like that again. I definitely can't keep my cool this time.
Oh my God.
You said they go focus on the run while they got Carson Palmer.
Hey, because when the run gets 100 yards, when they run all over them, like the Cowboys did, they're gonna be like, all right, we need to adjust. But see, when they adjust to us, there was no Tony Romo no more because he was.
Here's the thing you gotta love about Rashad. Rashad will always have always give you a point of view that nobody looks from. But here's the thing: Rashad leaves out little anecdotes that you just gotta include. You gotta make sure you fill in. You know what I'm saying? Like these are little important little quotes and facts that you gotta make sure you include. Fact number 1: the Cowboys have the best offensive line in the NFL. So of course, running and protecting Tony Romo is a lot easier for them to do than it is for the Cardinals to do with Carson Palmer and David Johnson or Chris Johnson. Point number 2. Des Bryant is better than any receiver on the Arizona Cardinals. Am I wrong?
That is a fact.
Am I wrong? No. That's point number 2. Point number 3. Tony Romo has statistically been better than Carson Palmer in every season of his career. So
that is true.
Knowing this, you have a better quarterback and a better offensive line with a better receiver and another tight end who's a better second option than their tight end. I'm just going to call John Brown and all those Michael Floyd and all them also, but who has also has a solid receiving core. You count all those things, and yet the Panthers focused on the running game.
When Tony Romo was like this,
I don't understand.
Tony Romo went out in the third quarter.
Second half.
Come on.
No, that's unacceptable.
It wasn't the whole second half.
Second half is the third quarter.
So what happened for the first 2.5 quarters? What happened those first 2.5 quarters? Oh, okay. Okay. With the best offensive line. So now imagine what the team that doesn't have the best offensive line in the game. What's Carson Palmer going to do? And he's not even as mobile as Tony Romo.
Yeah.
He's not even as mobile as Tony Romo is.
The thing. Tony Romo was getting the ball out way too early. He still had time for protection. He still had time. Well, obviously he did in the second half because he got hit and then he was this. But he had time before he was on the ball. He was just panicking too early because he thought I just want to make sure I don't get hit. Oh, that's all he was. I don't want to get hit.
I mean,
Carson Palmer looked at the pocket like this. He's gonna get a finger like this. He got time. And
guys,
Carson Palmer got time.
We can talk about this for forever. Rashad will come up with 10,000 angles.
With Tony Romo has a
give me our scores.
21 now.
What's yours?
You
said 30.
34-21 Cardinals.
34-21. I'd say 31-20.
Who?
Panthers. My bad.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Shame. No people picking the Panthers.
I say
Panthers.
Because
the Panthers
27. It feels like one of those seasons that you legit. On one side, you have the AFC, who Tom Brady, nobody's stopping Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, you got the NFC, who nobody can stop Cam. So then it legit feels like it's just destined for the two to be like this, and one is going to stop the other. So I'm going to pick the Panthers to win 28-20. Oh, shut up, man. It's the same. It's in the next topic. We're going to go on to the next topic. No, we have to go. We have to go. No. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, no.
Whoever wins this NFC Championship game will win the Super Bowl.
You think the NFC champion?
The NFC Championship decides the Super Bowl.
Going on to the next topic, the Patriots and the Broncos. The storylines for this game go on for forever. You want to talk about Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, all that. Even though, like Rashad said, the two relatively never ever go up against each other really on the field. It's offense versus defense, but it's always what's the record between the two quarterbacks going against each other. And Tom Brady has the better record of the two in all their matchups. But since Peyton's been playing in Denver, Tom's record in Denver hasn't been the best, And Tom Brady's only wins of recent years in Denver have come against Tim Tebow. So,
which they shouldn't have been.
So, who do y'all see having the edge in this game with the Patriots and the Broncos? Carla, let me start with you. Who do you think has the edge in this game?
Let me think. Is looking back at the game that they played early in the regular season. They didn't have Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Gronk was out too. Or he wasn't.
Gronk went out in the fourth quarter.
Okay, he was out in the fourth. So, but I don't know. This is a tough one because the Broncos defense is so great that I don't know if Tom Brady. I don't know if Tom Brady's offense may be better than their defense. I mean, that's crazy to say, but back in that game. But now he has Julian Edelman and a healthy Gronkowski. I do think that they may have the edge in this game, though. because he has his pieces, all his weapons.
Okay, Rashad, how about you?
Broncos.
Now we're gonna give reasons. Nothing.
Huh?
Broncos. Just,
Huh?
what do you mean?
Hold on. Why?
I mean, because I told you already, it doesn't matter who's gonna play from the AFC. The winner's gonna be from the NFC.
Oh my god!
But if you want some explanations,
It'd be nice.
it'd be nice.
It'd be nice.
It'd be nice. For starters, both quarterbacks is capable of beating Tom Brady, Brock or Peyton, because that defense is there to support them. Patriots defense isn't as strong, and if this offense can get going early, the offense is gonna be smooth throughout the whole game. So if the Broncos offense is going pretty much, get the run game going, get the pass game going, it's gonna be hard to slow that team down, especially with get better field position with your defense, causing plays, causing quick 3-and-out stuff like that. It's gonna give you a lot better field position than Tom Brady constantly driving the ball, at least getting a touchdown, field goal every possession like he's been doing all season long and everybody else. So with this Broncos defense, it will give Tom Brady problems like it did the first game. The offense, I think, come playoffs. See, that's the thing also. Playoff time.
Patriots.
Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, love them some playoffs. Love them some winning. Peyton Manning is striving to get another ring. He wants to go out. He wants that Ray Lewis exit. So both team has motivation going into the game, but it comes down to Broncos defense, Patriots offense. Which one can get going first? Which one can make a more impact in the game first? Because that will determine the game. The first, when y'all watch this game, first quarter, that first quarter will determine the whole game. That's all I'm saying right now. That first quarter will determine the whole game. And if Tom Brady comes out torching up that defense, Patriots won. But I don't see it happening. And I see that defense having great stands. Offense get going a little bit, and they're going to win.
So how do you see the Broncos? Wait, Colin, who did you give the edge to?
Patriots.
You gave the edge to Patriots. So how do both of you see the offenses getting the edge over the opposing defense? Let's start with you, Rashad, because you picking the Broncos. How are the Broncos?
That's kind of how, when I was saying in the beginning, I didn't mean to cut you off, by the way. But that's I told you, if they can get that run game going early and get the passing game going, it'll be smooth. That whole game would be smooth for the Denver Broncos offense-wise. Because that offense, as we know, that offense hasn't been the offense, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago with Peyton Manning, lighting up everything up. 50 touchdown year, that 1 year, all that stuff like that. It's not the same thing. It's more so it's like the AFC version of the Panthers. You have an offense that the run game definitely not as good, but you got an offense that can get going, but has their defense for support. That's how this Denver Broncos team is, and the Patriots teams, as we know, isn't always like a top defensive team. It's more so their offense. But I think with that being said, this Denver Broncos offense can actually get going against this Patriots defense, because we actually seen teams who put up points on the Patriots, but the Patriots just put up more points. So as we can go to like Buffalo, teams like Buffalo or something like that. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like that defense, I feel like this offense can actually get going, and I feel like the Patriots, like I said, it'll come to the first quarter. If Tom Brady can get that offense going against the defense early, it's going to be in the Patriots' favor.
All right, Colin, what about you?
I don't know about that, because the Broncos, they have a great rushing defense, but New England has a better passing defense. So I feel like if they can keep Peyton Manning, in his and just not scoring, or keep him in some kind of funk or whatever, to keep him from not scoring as many points, I do think that the Patriots the Patriots defense can last long enough for their offense to score a whole lot more than Denver's defense can stop the Patriots offense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that their offense will outlast the Denver's defense, and that Denver's offense, they'll be at odds with the Patriots defense a whole lot more.
Okay. Well, for the stats for y'all, offensively, the Broncos are 17th in rushing. In total yardage, they're 16th. In points, their offense is scoring. The Broncos aren't even ranked in the
top 20,
in the top 18 from what I can see. The Patriots are third in total points. The Patriots are sixth in total yardage. The Broncos are 16th in total yardage, and the Patriots aren't ranked in top 18 in total rushing offense. The Broncos are ranked number 1 in total yards. The Patriots are 9th in total yards. And defensively, the Broncos are 3rd in stopping the run. The Patriots are 9th. In pass defense, the Broncos are number 1, and the Patriots aren't in the top 16. And then in total yardage, the Denver is number 1, Patriots are number 9. And then in total points allowed, the Patriots are 10th and Denver's 4th. So from the looks of that, Denver is best at stopping what New England does best. But the Patriots are pretty good at stopping what Denver has said they would start to lean on, which is the run game and C.J. Anderson. For me, it's in that game earlier in the season with Brock Osweiler as the quarterback, the Patriots were without Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola because Danny Amendola got hurt early in that game. So Rob Gronkowski was the primary target, and then the Patriots were winning until Rob Gronkowski got hurt. And then they went into overtime just to allow that C.J. Anderson big run that would end the game. And then in that same game, who is the one of their middle linebackers got hurt in that game. He's their leading tackler that helps them stop the run. So if the regular season any waiver, an indicator of how the playoffs would go, I would give the edge to the Patriots because of the fact that now you have all your horses back apart from your running back. But the Patriots don't really run the ball as it is already. And then for me, Peyton, he always has had that. There's one thing you can't take away from Peyton is that cerebral assassin, that football intellect he has. The only problem with me is he doesn't have the arm to do everything that he used to be able to do to go along with that intellect. And if the Patriots have always been a bend but don't break kind of defense, while Denver just doesn't bend at all. They're not going to give you anything. But the thing is, that first game, the Denver was healthy on defense in that first game they played. And the Patriots still put up points on them. It wasn't a offensive scoring, blowout kind of machine game, but the Patriots still did what they wanted to do in that game offensively.
Without two of their offensive weapons.
Yeah, and then when Gronk went out in the fourth quarter, that's when the Patriots struggled. That's when the Patriots struggled. And now you have everybody. So it's one of those things. And then you just see how both teams have played throughout the season. We've all looked at it and we've been like, man, I don't even know if the Broncos were the better team in that Steelers game when the Broncos beat the Steelers. Because if Antonio Brown isn't out with the concussion, then you're sitting there, you're just like, man, the Steelers could have won this game because the game was still so close. And the Steelers had Martavis Bryant and Marcus Wheaton, and they still put up big passing yards on them. So you sit there and you wonder, you're like, man. And for me, it's one of those things that, like I said earlier, I feel like Cam and Tom are just like on this collision course kind of thing. Like you feel as though with the deflate gate that Tom Brady had from last season, it's kind of motivation for, hey, we're going to get back to that point. I feel like they really want to get back to that point and make Roger Goodell give them the trophy, the Lombardi trophy. But then on the other side, the Panthers just seem like they're on this magical run as well. Whereas they're just like this is their season. Like nobody can stop them. So for me, I picked the Patriots to win this one because I feel as though their run, if they hadn't had all those injuries, I honestly believe the Patriots could have went 16-0 if they hadn't had all those injuries. Because the minute Edelman went out, then you saw a few games that Denver handed them their first loss when Edelman went out and then Amendola went out. So you saw the injuries kept building up and building up and building up, and you at some point you just can't. There's so many injuries you can't get over. And if the Patriots would have had Edelman the whole season, not even Amendola, but you would have had Edelman the whole season, who's Tom Brady's #1 target. That's his #1 target, and you have him the whole season. But it's not like they just took away Edelman. You lost him, you lost Amendola, you lost your running back, and Dion Lewis was a great back coming out of the backfield. That that he was a great receiving back. That and everybody normally says you can just put anybody back there for the Patriots, but he was one of those backs that putting him back there was actually a big factor for the Patriots. You take him away, you put all the defensive injuries they had. And it's just like they've never been able to stay consistently healthy, and now they're just about they're moderately healthy. So and you wonder like what can they do when they're this healthy as opposed to when they were hurt and they were just getting by. You know what I mean? So what would y'all final scores be for this game? Kyler, what's your final score since you picked the Patriots? What would be your final score for this game?
I'd say 42-36.
Oh, that's points.
Hey, bro, they high scoring teams.
Sheesh. Make my sound unrealistic now. I was gonna say 28-24, but now that sounds, according to Khalid, that sounds unrealistic.
They high scoring teams, bro.
What's your 42? Wow.
It may not be that much.
40. I mean,
I would like it to be.
Okay.
I would like it to be
28-24 Broncos.
I will say 24-21 Patriots. But
a field goal.
You said what?
A field goal.
Yeah, field goal. But going on from that, there was this week. It's funny how before a week before every game, or just essentially a week before it's Super Bowl weeks, media weeks, somebody's always talking about somebody else. It seems like, and it just so happens some Broncos players had some things to say about some Patriots players, and one Antonio Smith had and Malik Jackson said about Tom Brady that Tom Brady's a crybaby. So you look at that and you're like, oh well, Tom's a crybaby. Well, how do you?
Does that guy do anything?
You know what I mean? Because Tom Brady kind of cries about whenever Tom Brady gets sacked. You look at how he reacts when getting sacked, and he said every time he gets sacked, he gets up and he's like pleading to the refs about something. So really quickly, let me know, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about his comments? And then they also make comments about how you get Rob Gronkowski down and stuff. They always say you have to go low on Rob, and that's how you end up taking them out of the game. So what do you guys think about that? Rashad, let me hear what you have to say.
Okay, one for that Gronk thing. Saying you gotta go low there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way how you take that. I mean, that's a big dude. Because look who said it. Chris Harris said it. Who's a cornerback?
Yeah.
I mean, what you want him to do? Hit Gronk high?
Yeah.
Wrap him up from shots? No. I ain't gonna run him over like what's his name? Like if I was in my little Jag and then a tractor trailer came and hit me. That's what it'd have been like. No, you hit him low. Like he said, when you gotta make sure you add everything he said in there. You hit him low, or you hold on to him. Just you get a gang tackle because he understands he's a big dude. Now for Tom Brady's, with the was the defensive lineman said it. I mean, he's right. Tom Brady do be looking for calls, but I mean, it's kind of like the Michael Jordan treatment. You're supposed to get all the calls after you become great. That's when you get all the calls. Because you can think about with the Cam Newton thing was last season. Or was it earlier this season when he was like, you don't get that call yet. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that. That's why Tom Brady looks for the calls. That's why like NBA, you see Kobe Bryant ask for calls, stuff like that. Because great mega stars will get those calls.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady wants those calls.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree when I'm saying that he gets up looking for calls every play he gets sacked. I mean, he don't get sacked often, and when he do, he doesn't like it. So he wants a call. And then the Gronk situation, you just got to go low because it's a big dude to hit anyway.
Colin, what do you think about it?
I agree with Rashad. If I was in Tom Brady's position and I got sacked out of nowhere, I'd be confused too. I'd be like, something happened. Like, what's going on? I'm not supposed to get sacked. I'd be trying to plead to the refs as well. I mean, you can't be calling the man a crybaby because he's looking for a call. He's like you say, he's a good player, and good players usually get those calls.
Yeah.
I do think that these Broncos players, I don't know, for some reason, somebody always find a way to bring the Patriots down or try to bring the Patriots down, like some of their most pivotal times, or they'll try to have an excuse for why the Patriots aren't as good as they should be. And it's just let the people play the game.
Yeah.
Gronkowski gonna do what he does. If you can't stop him, if you can't keep up with him, that's your problem.
And one funny thing for me is that it seems like every single team that plays the Patriots in a matchup or playoff game, whatever, they always say this is how you stop Rob Gronkowski.
And don't do it.
Nobody ever does it. Nobody has ever done it. But y'all, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day, broadcasting on WODU radio, the best in college radio. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at KBR Sports, where you can see past shows and past segments. And you can also follow our KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where you see our you see our show, our topics for the day, and you can see the link that we tweet for the show. So anybody that struggles to find the show can find it through the link that we tweet on there. You can also see all the current events with the KBR Sports channel. Like anytime we may be off during a week or whatever, we'll tweet it during that time to keep you guys updated.
And tell your friends about us.
We out here. Okay. All right, everybody have a great day.